This is Bill Romanowski, and you're listening to the 3-Point Conversion.
This is Kyle Nash, the student of the game, with the 3-Point Conversion here at TIAA Bank Field, where the Jacksonville Jaguars came up with a huge improbable victory, 40-34 in overtime over the Dallas Cowboys. At one point in the third quarter, they were down by 17 points and came back to force overtime, and a big part of that was the defense late. A few turnovers, a couple by Dak Prescott, quarterback for the Cowboys. Both of those interceptions were made by Rayshawn Jenkins, who also led the team in tackles. The linebacker and defensive captain Foye Oluokun, with 14 tackles on the day, had this to say about the defense's confidence once they forced overtime. Once you secured overtime, how much more confident did the defense get?
I mean, I feel like that whole second half we were doing what we were supposed to do. So once we got into overtime, I said we got one drive for the game. We make a stop there, we're going to win. If we go back out there and make a stop, we know the offense can get a field goal. That was going to be the game. So, obviously going against the Cowboys, they're talented, but it was our time to show that we're talented too.
The key element of the defense that was missing up front was Trayvon Walker, first-round pick and big contributor for the Jags up front, including the game he had against the Titans. He was missing this week due to injury and was filled in by linebacker Arden Key. He said this about his experience observing Rayshawn Jenkins taking the game winner to the house in overtime.
Man, it was a great moment. I still haven't sat back and really processed it. I'm still in the moment as we speak, but I think that might have been one of the best moments in my career. Looking back on it, just being a defensive guy, the defense win championship, defense ended the game, and Tua is a hell of a guy, man. Tua can ball.
Now, the number 2 that Arden Key mentions is, of course, Rayshawn Jenkins, who we talked about earlier, but let's give the offense some credit. The wide receiver core had a great day today. In particular, Zay Jones coming out with 3 touchdowns and 109 yards in the air receiving. And of course, Christian Kirk, the other new acquisition for the Jags at the receiver spot, had 92 of his own. Now, during the game, both offensive tackles were hurt at some point. Cam Robinson, leaving the game, carted off with a knee injury, and then Jawan Taylor at the other tackle spot on the right side suffered a hamstring injury. He would return, but Christian Kirk talked a little bit after the game about the offense's resolve to take the game into overtime, even after a late turnover.
The guys throughout, who were banged up a bit. I think Travis had to come off. You had 2 linemen that had to, including Cam Robinson, had to get carted off even. What does it say about this group's resolve that despite all those guys missing, you still pulled through it? I mean, you talked about the mental toughness. Yeah.
Well, I think that shows the mental preparation of the guys that, don't play usually, the guys that are, next man up. And, they do a great job throughout the week, and everybody does a great job of, knowing that their moment can come at any time. It takes one snap. And, those guys do a great job. All the guys that came in and were able to fill in those spots, they did an unbelievable job.
As an offensive guy, how good does it feel to put up the points that you did on this Dallas defense?
Honestly, at the end of the day, it's as long as we got enough points to win, that's all that matters. I'm sure we put up some crazy stats and whatnot, but I don't really look at that. Don't really care. As long as we had more points than them at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
When at the end of the day, you have the W to get you back in that playoff race. I know it's one game at a time, but does that help at all to kind of get your mind right to get ready for a tough Thursday game?
Yeah, it's just you're gonna enjoy this one right now, but tomorrow morning it's on to the Jets, and they're a great football team with a great defense, and so we need to prepare mentally, get our bodies back physically, and be ready to go down for another dogfight.
Even before regulation was over, the Jaguars offense had scored more points on the Cowboys than anyone else this season in the NFL, which was only increased when they sealed the 40-34 overtime victory. A big game for the Jags. They'll be watching the Titans closely as they're currently on a collision course at the end of the game here at TIAA Bank Stadium for the final game of the year, and what could have implications for both teams if the Jags continue to hold serve and win games. This is Kyle Nash, the student of the game, with the 3-Point Conversion.